Yes, so now we are discussing about electrical services. In that today we are discussing about neon lighting. Neon lighting, a neon sign is a lighting display made of glass tubes that have been filled with a gas and bent into the shape of letters or decorative designs. When a high voltage electrical current is passed through the gas, the tubes emit light. Although gas was originally used in these signs, several other gases are also used. And next point is raw materials. Although neon gas was originally used in the neon signs, it is now only used to produce reds and oranges. Argon or an argon neon mixture is used in most signs to improve the intensity of the light. A small amount of mercury is added to the argon to produce an intense blue light. And next point is illuminated tubing. The electrodes in each end of a section of illuminated tubing are usually made from very pure iron, surrounded by a cylindrical glass jacket or envelope with one end open. A wire is attached to the metal electrode and passes through the closed end of the glass envelope. The closed end is sealed into the end of the sign tubing with the open end protruding into the tube. And next point is neon design. With only a neon sign few exceptions, each sign is unique and must be designed to fit the desired display within the confines of the available space. Considerations of the diameter of the tubing, the minimum radius and the tubing can be bent. And next point is length of tubing. The transformer can power all limit the final design. For example, the smaller the diameter of the tubing, the brighter the light. Conversely, a smaller diameter tubing requires more power, thus limiting the overall length of tubing one transformer can handle. And next point is manufacturing process. It consists of bending the tubing and attaching the electrodes, removing any impurities from within the tubing, then evacuating the air and adding the gas. And next point is preparing the tubing. Lengths of glass tubing are cleaned and placed vertically in a coating machine. The machine blows a liquid phosphor suspension upwards into the tube and then lets it drain back out the bottom. And next point is the tubes are placed vertically in an oven which dries the coating. Color tints are applied in a similar manner. The tubes that are to be filled with neon to form a red or orange light or argon to form a blue light are left clear. And next point is bending the tube. The glass tubing is carefully heated and softened using a variety of burners. Smaller and torches are used to heat shorter lengths. Using the asbestos template as a guide, the tubing is bent by hand. The tube benders don't wear protective gloves because they must be able to feel the heat transfer and the degree of softening in the glass to determine the right moment to make the bend. And next point is tube bender attaches a short length of flexible hose called a blow hose to one end. The tube bender gently blows into the hose to force the tube back to its original diameter. Tubes with restricted diameters will not operate properly. Next point is several sections of glass tubing. Most large neon signs are made of several sections of glass tubing. To make each section, the ends of the two lengths of tubing are heated and spliced together when the shape of the lettering or design has been formed for a section. An electrode is heated and fused onto each end. Next point is a small port called a tubulation is added to allow the tubing to be evacuated with a vacuum pump. This tubulation port may be part of one of the electrodes or may be a separate piece joined into the tubing. And the next point is glass tubing. A process known as bombarding is used to remove any impurities from the glass, phosphors, and electrodes. First, the air inside the tubing is evacuated. After the vacuum reaches a certain level, dry air is allowed back into the tubing until the pressure is in the range of 0.02 to 0.04 inches of mercury. And the next point is current transformer. A very high current transformer is connected to the electrodes for a length of tubing that may normally run on 25 milliamperes. 350 to 700 milliamperes may use for the bombarding process. The high current heats the glass to about 400 degrees F and the metal electrodes is heated about 1300 F, 1300 degrees F. This heating process is heating forces the impurities out of the materials, and the vacuum pump carries the impurities out of the system. And next point is filling the tube. Once the tube has cooled, the gas injected under low pressure, the gas must be free from impurities in order for the sign to operate properly and have a long life. The normal fill pressure for a tube, 0.6 inches in diameter, is about 0.5 inches of mercury. Tubulation port is then heated and sealed off. And next point is aging the tube. The finished gas filled tubing is put through an aging process. Sometimes the process is referred to as burning in the tube. The purpose is to allow the gas in the tube to stabilize and operate properly. And next point is installation and mounting. Small neon signs are mounted in their framework and wired in the shop. Larger signs mounted in pieces and put into the building. The other support structure where they are interconnected and wired. Large installations require months to install. And next point is quality control. Careful manufacturing process required to produce a properly operating neon sign. Neon signs should have a life of over 30,000 hours. As a comparison, the average 100-watt neon light bulb has a rated life of 750 to 1000 hours. And next point is series of tests. That requires a series of tests. Neon signs must also meet the requirements of the National Electrical Code. Outdoor signs must comply with local building codes in their construction and electrical wiring. This is the information regarding neon lighting. Especially restaurants and hotels and some wedding halls also heavily using neon lighting, but it is costliest affair. But for common weddings and functions, this much is not required. But in certain cases, especially national and international gatherings are going on, means for the indication of our country's status and state level statuses, we should use neon lights for welcoming the public. So certain times it is required. It is good for hotels and restaurants also, especially not restaurants, 5-star restaurants likewise, who can use it. Wishing you all the best.